We're back. I think we're back. Cool. Everything should be working a bit early today. Okay, everything should be working. We're back with another late night studio session. We're gonna be working on new pieces today. Before I even start, maybe let's show what I have created last week. So this is what we had from last week's creation. It's drying. It's not bone dry yet, but it's drying. So we added a little detailed line to create this segregation look for this face. We really love this piece. I kind of didn't smoothen the edges out as much. And kind of just left it. I got a little bit too busy, so I didn't have time to finish much of it. I just kind of left it as it is. Today, we will be working on a new piece. Right. We will be working on a new piece. I have some new sketches here, which I'm not sure which one I will be working on, depending on how I feel. I do like all of them, and I want to create them sooner, someday. But right now, I'm unsure which piece I would like to do. Right. I think this has always been the shape that I always love to create, even for my just hands and feet series. And also, I think this could be quite interesting, this half and half little guy. And this one where the hands just comes down. I might be interested to create this one today. Right. Or even this guy. The hands and the feet. Either the hands come down or this one. Right. So we'll see. For now, we'll need some clay. So we'll go get some clay ready. All right, so we have our bags of clay here with me. We're gonna try and do something with them. Let's go with the bigger pieces. I'm not sure if this is enough. Maybe I need 2 blocks of clay to wedge them in together. So maybe let's try and do that, wedging both clay together. Good that I'm storing them quite okay with the moist. Let it dry, just to make sure it's moist enough to wedge. This is definitely too big of a clay body, but that's fine. You need it to be huge this time. Maybe let's do something slightly bigger with the bends. Okay, now that we have this block of big ball, let's see what we want to create. Today's mood is slightly down in the dumpers. Maybe let's just do the one hand folding down. Okay, that's a bit tricky. But as usual, I'll always create my base first. So before I even start, I will try to get my clay into the rough shape that it needs to be. Right? So the hand will be coming from these sides. So I will need the flat areas to be this face over this side. So I will be okay with something like this. Right, it has to be maybe thinner and longer. And same thing, I think I will roughly create the shape, the bends, the balls on the top. It has that 3 curves going on the hair. It has to be coming down. Right, again, it's roughly creating the curves. We start with roughly, loosely creating the curves. You can see it starts to take shape. And then now we want the hand to come here and the face to be here. Right. So the tricky part is probably sculpting the hands. Right. So I think the easiest thing for me will be actually to sculpt it with an attachment. So what we'll do is we'll lift this block of clay here and we'll do the hands on this tiny block of clay and then we'll attach it. Right. I'll keep this clay moist. And let's see. We'll, as usual, do the same thing. We'll create the thumb first. Let's create a thumb coming out. Create a thumb coming out. And then you have your fingers. The thumb is definitely too huge for now. But again, it's slowly gonna take shape. But here you can see the rough hands and the thumb sticking out. The thumb might be too huge, so I'm gonna slim it down. Slim it down. Slim it down. Here we go. Next, we'll cut the fingers. Right, let's put some water and we'll focus on cutting the fingers. And there you have your hand, little hand. And we're gonna use our sculpting tool as usual. It might be a little too huge of a hand, but let's sculpt it first before we decide whether we want to reduce the size of it. Right, I'm gonna bring in my camera. I'm gonna focus more on this part. Same thing, what I'm doing, I'm isolating the fingers. Let me move this guy. Here. Isolating the fingers and rounding it. And doing the same here. Roughly rounding off the edges of the finger and trimming its length, also removing the excess clay in between. Right, so that it has that gap. Right, you can see from the back, it's not the most clean. You still need to remove some clay. And then for the little pinky, we will, it's getting a little bit dry. So we roughly have our fingers and hands done, right? So the next thing is we want to just smoothen it out, the edges with the brush. Clean up the gaps, round off the finger tips. And just keep doing that. And now we have our little hand. Right. It's a little maybe too huge to my liking for this piece. So what I'm doing is I will shape it now. Now that I have the rough hands, the size of it, I will need to, and it's getting a little dry, so it's a bit dangerous to sculpt. I'll put in some water. So the finger's a bit too huge. What I'll do is I'll actually try to clean up them. And reduce the size of the hands and palms. Here. And I want it to bend because it's sitting on the, it's resting like this. So I'm gonna use my palm to create the bend gently of my finger for the hands to take shape. Right, you'll be resting. So I'm pressing it down to bend it. And then you have it. the hands. Right, now we need to figure out how to attach it to the hair. Before we do that, I think I'm gonna leave this to dry a little bit and jump back to my big piece. So we roughly got the shape of the big piece. This huge chunk is not the most neat, but we got the curvature that we want, this tree curve. Again, it's not the perfect ideal shape at this moment, but we'll continue to sculpt it. Right. It's maybe too much in the center of it. I'm thinking if I should flip it and use this as the front of the face, or maybe I should still stick to this side being the face, and the hand will come here. Right, I need to attach this to here, and the face will be flat. So right now I'm gonna flatten a little bit of where the face will be using this tool, and then you notice that the hand will kind of rest something like this attached to it. So I definitely need to carve out quite a lot, right? But for now, at least I'm gonna determine the area of the face. Maybe it doesn't have to be this high. And I need to put my hands over here. I'll need to make a dent here to attach so that it doesn't protrude out too much. It's actually just resting inside. So what I'll do is I'll actually push and create a hole, a place for the attachment to go. Right. Slowly and gently recessing like a socket. We're creating a socket, and we probably need a bit of a water just to smoothen things out. So here is a weird socket now because we're gonna attach this here to sculpt. Again, this is a very new sculpture idea, so I'm just kind of figuring out on the way as we do it. So what we do is let's just try and attach the hand now to this thing. And before we do that, we just want to make sure that the hand is accordingly to how we want it to be. And this is too thick, so we might want to chop it off. I'm just going to chop off the edge. I'm going to store this piece so that it doesn't dry up. And we have this chopped hand that we want to attach here. So for now, we're just going to score and attach, and we'll figure it out as we go along. Scoring all of it. here, scoring all the 5 bits. And we're gonna attach these two pieces together by just using water. Right. Attach. We're gonna nail this part in. We're gonna resculpt this area. So what we're gonna do is we want to just join the hands as much as we can. Pushing the bulk of my clay to join with the hands from the main shape and sculpture. Also ensuring the bottom part is also joined in, that they are merged completely. For now, it's a very messy shape, but we will continue to sculpt once the joint is in. So now you see this weird guy with his hand coming out, right? But it's missing this lump. It has to flow smoothly here. So what I'll do is we'll use the clay that we just now removed from the hand earlier and add on to this part to create this smooth layerness to it. Attach this to here. Right, and right now it feels like it's a very weird lump of clay coming out. It looks really like a Frankenstein project. And that's fine because we're just trying to get the shape to how we would imagine it to be. So again, just to close up the gap that we have created and make sure that they joint in nicely. And you have this weird hands coming out. It looks very, very messy. Even the lumps. It's not the smoothest. So next we want to make sure the joint is smoothed. We're going to use this block of clay to smoothen things out. Now we are evening out the bumps so it doesn't look like the hands have some weird deformed muscle coming out of it. And now it's looking much smoother. But it's not exactly what we have in mind for our sketch. And it's gonna take a while to get there. So I'm trying to fill up this bend to make sure it's a full joint. And what I'll do is I'll actually push down the mass of the clay I have to this side so that I could fill up this gap. And then smoothen this side of things. This is definitely not an easy sculpt. Something very different and new. It's a challenge for myself. So we're really just figuring out as we go along. So right now I want this to lay flat. So I'm trying to even out by pushing the clay into areas that I might need them to feel. It's very tedious process to figure out the original sculpt, but slowly you can see it take shape. Right, you're slowly getting to how it is looking compared to the sketch itself, which is this guy. Right, and this is our progress. Maybe the hand is coming out a little bit too much, but we'll try and continue sculpting to see how we can improve this. I don't really like this bend coming out, so we might add some clay to it. But before that, let me try and get this shaped to stick firmly to the ground before I decide how I would want to do the rest. So I think what I'll do now is actually try and draw out the face and decide where the face is going to be at, the shape of it, before I continue sculpting the rest of it. So I'm going to make sure my face is flat. And nice. And then now we're going to carve down where the face is roughly going to be, so we have a better idea to continue our sculpting. So what I'll do is, let me see, I'll try and draw the face. Go something like this. And then a lower one to here. Maybe a little too short. I would like it to be longer. Let's just erase this part and do a longer draw until here. Right. So this is a rough marking of where the face is gonna be. And what we will do next is always to flatten the surface. So it feels like the hair is coming out and the face is slightly flattened. And at the same time, what I want to do is I always have my nose in the center. So while you're flattening the face, I'm also pushing clay towards the center so that I have enough clay to create the nose. Right. So I'm pushing and flattening where the eyes will be, the forehead. And pushing it towards the middle to create a nose. So there you roughly have it. You have the hands and where the face and the nose is. I'm gonna just make a more clear marking of the face by carving more clay out between the flat face and the hair. And I'm gonna carve out some more and I'm gonna push it, the excess one, to the hair. Right now you can see where the face is currently at. And we'll come back and clean this up because I think we still need to get the bulk of the shape up and running. But we got where the face will be, where the eyes will be, where the nose will be. Next is we need to fix the shape of the hair. Okay, this is where we are at currently. It's getting there, a little rough, I would say. Not exactly most happy with the sculpt currently, but it's still a long way to go. I think first is let's fix. I wonder if I like my hair, the hands of the hair protruding out like this, or should I fill this up so that it becomes the bulk of the elbow? Really having a very mixed feeling about what I'm doing so far. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just push in slightly so it doesn't look like there's this shot bend to it. So I'll remove some of the clay and push it into the gap. Same thing here. I'll try and push some of the clay from the back of the bum head down to smoothen this part out. So make it so that they blend in much better. Okay, just keep using force to do that and smoothen it out. Same thing with here, pushing clay towards the bend to smoothen it out. And now the bend is much smoother, but you can still see a little patch over here that requires maybe more clay. Or what I'll do is maybe I'll refine the shape of my hand by removing some of that clay. The hand still feels a little too bulky. So what I'll do is I'll just keep pushing clay and thinning where the hands is and just push it back to where I need to feel it as much as I can. At the same time, I'm smoothing out my hand sculpture, making it less bulky and also solving this weird bump that I had at the back of it. Right, it's just a slow process of sculpting the shape with just my hands. But we still have this quite awkward in. I think I might fill it in with a bit of excess clay. I do have more clay ready. And just a little bit, right? And what I'll do is I'll just let it join better by scoring a little bit. Right now they're both quite still of the equal moist level, so I don't really need to, but it's just a good practice to have. So I add in quite a lot of clay, maybe too much, so I remove a bit. Right. Now I'm gonna, same thing, use just my fingers to even out how much clay I would need. If there's too much, pluck in to the bottom to fill in the gap. Yep. The initial sculpting part is always the messiest, but it's also the most fun because you are figuring out how to get the most ideal shape, especially when you're turning from a 2D sketch into a 3D shape. You will figure out some things work and some things doesn't work along the way, and then how do you troubleshoot it. So now we kind of filled up that weird little concave dent, but now it looks so much smoother. I kind of prefer it like this. Right, I'm just gonna slap it a little bit so make sure it's compact, and then I'll use this to shape the bend. So very good to do round edges and also making sure that the clay is compact. So there's still a little bit of dent here. I might want to just fill that up. Make sure it's fully flat. Fully flat. smooth with my fingers. And there we have it. The weird Frankenstein now has a smoother joint at the back to the hair and the face and the nose. We have roughly. Still not the most ideal compared to our sketch. I think maybe the shape of the face is not exactly how I want them to be. It's maybe a little bit too huge. So let me do a bit of a cleanup here. Right, do a bit of a cleanup here. And then redraw the face. This time I think it's easier if I use my fingers to shape it a bit more. And like, it's always easier to use your fingers as a tool as opposed to some of the clay tools. So the face is something like this, but I wanted to go like slightly lower on this side. So how do I remedy this? Maybe I'll just push down the clay and redo it. Right, we're redoing the other side. Now that I've merged it back. This side is fine. I think I like the heights, but it needs to go down. Curling a bit more. So something like it goes like this. And it goes this way down. Much better. Same thing, I'm just going to use my fingers to actually create the groove. And then I'll use this to recreate it. Maybe it's too much clay, I should remove some clay. But it's in a much better shape than I wanted. So I think for now it's fine. I'm just gonna smooth things out with the brush too. Right, he still looks very, very messy. But I think I'll do a cleanup for now before we come back and adjust it some more. I think the nose is also good enough. Oh, this is a very heavy boy. So the next thing is I just want to sculpt the dent and the bend of the shape of the hair much better and smoothen it out. So I'm just going to use my thumb to apply the force and just move things out and create the hum of the hair. Right. Same thing, I'll do it on the back. I find it much easier to go from bottom up. With your thumb like this to really create that smooth edge. And sometimes if it feels a little too dry, you just need to put a bit of water on your thumb and just continue this motion, right? This natural motion will create the curvature that you want. You're just pushing it down, sliding it. Pushing it down and sliding it. And here you can kind of feel, because this part is where we throw in excess clay, you could kind of feel it's just a little bit of force. It's moving a lot of clay. It means maybe it's not compact enough. So it's also good to try and compact this area up by using more force to smoothen it. Dun, 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 dun. And it's slowly starting to take better shape. Right, all you need to do is just slowly use your fingers, apply a little bit of water. So easy to smooth it and sculpt it. Not really a big fan of using sponges. And also your fingers create those natural dents and textures, which actually looks pretty fine when you fire them. Right, clay has its own muscle memory. The strokes that you give it can be seen when you fire the pieces actually raw without glazes. The texture is kind of carried over. So we managed to smoothen this side, and we kind of like the bend. Now we need to fix this bend coming down the other side of the face. Right. Let's see. I'm gonna fix this second bump here. Over here. Same thing. It's really just using your fingers to feel and push the clay towards the direction you want. So we're going to create the bump. So we want to use a circular motion, push the clay towards the top. It's almost like pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. So it creates this very organic bump shape. So where you want this stand to be, you are pushing, and then you're pulling it towards the top to create this natural bend. So if you want more dent here, again, it's just pushing it down and pushing it towards the high end of the bump to create a more distinct organic shape like this. Right? It's coming to shape pretty well. Right. The last part would be the last part of getting the shape to where I want it to be will be this bump over here. I kind of want this side to just curve it all the way down, and I kind of mess it up at the start, so it looks like there's this little bump, then there it slides down, so this looks like a small bump instead of creating a huge bump that goes from here to the bottom. So we might do it the way where when we hollow it out, we'll start pushing it from the inside to the outside to shape this part. So to do that, I'll just need to make sure that the clay is fine and create a very distinct line here on the outside first. So later when we hollow this out, it's easier to push out the bottom clay part to get to the shape that we want. And it's not completely necessary. I think I'm also okay with just having a small bump instead of a big bump, because the most difficult part that we got through is the hands, getting the hands to fit, and then the face. Right, this is the most important detail area, the hands and the face and the nose. So quite alright with the shape that we have sculpted. The next part is definitely cleaning up and doing the details. Right, so we do one round of cleanup for the hands, because when we're trying to attach it and sculpt the hair, we might have applied a bit of force to the hands to get it out of shape. Next, I would want to detail the face area. Right. Let's see if I can do something like this. As far as I can go. This is what it looks like. And this is the sketch that we're replicating. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe the hands is coming out a little bit too much. I think that's the thing, the tricky thing is figuring out 2D and 3D. Now I just need to detail the face part much more clearer. So let's do that. There's this natural band U curve shaped. It's a very nice curve shape here. So you want to keep curling and curling and curling to create it, and then it comes down here, right? And then you just remove the excess clay and then just gently clean it with your fingers. Right. We just need to get the rough shape out. And once it's much more drier, we can come and clean up the details. Right. So this is where the face roughly is. And we can't really sculpt the eyes right now because I kind of applied too much water for now. We're just gonna leave it be. So what we do now is, while it dries a little bit, just maybe cut out the eyebrow with this little extra clay that we have. cut out the eyebrow. Flattening it. And just chopping it. I'm just squeezing it into rectangular looking eyebrow. And we have that. We just need to split it in half. And there we go. We got two tiny eyebrows. Tiny eyebrows. So while we have that, I think it's okay now. We're gonna roughly draw the eyes and attach the eyebrows. Right. It's not easy to show. Let me see if I could move the camera. And try and show it. We're gonna roughly mark out where the eyes is gonna be. Very gently. Very gently. Okay, I think this is where the eyes will be. I'm gonna dig through for thicker outlines. Because it's still kind of wet, it's really not the most ideal to do detailing for now. But at the same time, it's good to attach the eyebrows. So maybe I'll do that. Now that we roughly know where the eyes will be, I'm gonna mark down where I'm gonna attach the eyebrows to. And I'm gonna try and attach the eyebrows to the face. So let's do this one to here. Oh, that's pretty thick eyebrow that I sculpted. Just pressing it down so that it gives it time to attach before we clean it up. What's my favorite too? Here. So we're gonna make sure it's attached nicely. There's too much clay on this piece. Right. So when we attach a piece, you want to blend the sides to close up the gap. And It's definitely not the easiest to sculpt and show the camera, but it's a learning process. So you're just pushing down the edges and blending it down, so to make sure that the attachment is good enough. And we're not so worried about the shape of the eyebrows yet. We can of course clean it up. And I'm always not the most particular if my eyebrows looks a little bit. I think that's the fun, natural part of it. So I attach our eyebrow. So we just want to use the brush to clean up the messiness. We're probably gonna clean up the detailing as well, but that's fine because at this stage when there's still a lot of water, it's just there to get your pieces and shaped out. It's not the most ideal time to do any carving of details. So we just want to make sure that your pieces are attached nicely and that they are in the places that you want it to be. Right. Dun, dun, dun. And there we have it. The eyes are kind of gone again. So what I'll do is I'll again redraw my eye. And we're very close to our sketch. What we'll do the next round is to details. We'll draw the outline of the hands. Right, and we'll create a better segregation between the hair and the face. And once this is much more dry, I can better sculpt and clean up the eyes and eyebrow of the face. Also the indents of the face shape. Do the separation of the hands. And of course, when it's even more dry, I will have to hollow it out and continue to shape the bulk of it. But this is where we are in 1 hour of sculpting. Right, we will be done for here actually, because I will need to leave this piece to dry for a little bit. Oops. Before I can do any sculpting. Right now it's still too moist because I'll leave it overnight to dry before we come and clean up the details, do the sculpting, hollow it out, and we achieve quite closely from our drawing we got here in 1 hour. Sorry, my nails are very dirty. Ding, ding, you can kind of see the shape of the hair. Maybe the camera is not capturing it to its fullest, but it's quite cute shape that we've achieved today. So it's a quick 1 hour session tonight, just to make sure that I find time to creation while life is kind of busy. So we're done for tonight. It's just a short session. We'll continue this sculpt tomorrow. I'll keep this to dry it out a little bit tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow to finish this piece, hopefully. All right. Till then, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, do subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more late night studio sessions where I'll be continuously sculpting crazy sketch ideas that I have and putting myself to challenge and doing pieces that I kind of have no idea how to achieve at the moment, but that's part of the clay sculpting process. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I will need to clean up now. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.